The Pittsburgh Steelers have been named landing spots for a very surprising name. They are amongst the favorites for a quarterback that I don't think anybody saw coming. What's going on, everybody? I'm Noah Strackline. Thank you for jumping on to Steelers to Go, your daily to-go cup of Pittsburgh Steelers news and analysis. Find us on youtube.com/all Steelers talkers. Subscribe anywhere you get your podcasts. The Pittsburgh Steelers, they popped up on a very surprising list this week, but it's a name that has fascinated plenty of people. I put it out on allsteelers.com a couple of days ago, and already it has exploded. Everybody and their mother is talking about, should the Pittsburgh Steelers, will the Pittsburgh Steelers, would the Pittsburgh Steelers even consider going after a former first overall pick? Because Vegas or some sports book somewhere believe so. BetOnline AG has released a list of favorites to land Kyler Murray if he is not the Cardinals quarterback in 2024. On that list, I'll read it right in order. The New England Patriots sit there at 5-1 odds, followed by the Tennessee Titans, the New York Giants, the Atlanta Falcons, and then tied in fifth place are the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Washington Commanders. It is very fascinating, just to say the least. And there are a couple sides to this conversation, I guess. We'll start with the fact of the Pittsburgh Steelers being fifth on this list, and who's behind them, I think, is even more fascinating. Obviously, the Patriots are a team that I could see happening. The Tennessee Titans make absolutely no sense, but if Will Levis isn't the guy, I understand that one as well. The New York Giants make a ton of sense. So do the Atlanta Falcons. The Steelers and the Commanders, on the other hand, you look at those two names and you start to think maybe it's because they both have young quarterbacks that are question marks or have some serious question marks surrounding them. But if we're being honest, I think both teams have made it very clear that they have confidence in their quarterback and that they are planning, at least right now, to stick with that quarterback, and not much is going to change. But both of them tied at fifth place. The Chicago Bears follow, and that is the team that I thought would have been near, if not the top of the list, depending on, obviously how they feel about the NFL draft. But if they aren't sold with that first pick and Caleb Williams, maybe, just maybe, you go a different direction or you trade back, and then you have the second pick as well, and you're feeling real good about those top two selections. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers also make a ton of sense. The Seattle Seahawks and the Las Vegas Raiders certainly should be on that list. And then the Jets, the Vikings, the Panthers, and the 49ers all make sense. The only team that really does not make sense on this list is the Pittsburgh Steelers. And yeah, maybe there are some out there that are thinking, yeah, Kenny Pickett isn't the guy. The Steelers need to move on after the season. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm not saying that the Pittsburgh Steelers shouldn't bring in healthy competition in the summer, but I don't think that healthy competition should be Kyler Murray. And I don't think that they should go and add a quarterback contract just because they need somebody to come in here and kind of push the limits of Kenny Pickett to see if they really have a guy. I'm not sold on Kenny Pickett. I don't believe that Kenny Pickett has done enough for me to firmly say, yeah, fourth quarter Kenny is enough for the Pittsburgh Steelers to feel confident that this is their guy. I don't believe that at all. I think the Pittsburgh Steelers should 100% have a game plan to go into the offseason, sign a quarterback or draft a quarterback in the maybe second or third round and utilize that quarterback as a backup that can push Kenny Pickett. And yeah, maybe that's a bit of a wasted draft pick or a bit of wasted salary cap space, but I think that that is the direction that you go if you're Pittsburgh, just because you need the most out of your quarterback. And Kenny Pickett right now is just not living up to expectations, not living up to where he should live up to in year two, especially from what we saw in the preseason, what we saw throughout training camp. It hasn't added up into the regular season. And yeah, the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to continue to win. I don't expect that to stop anytime soon. I expect this team to be doing enough to coast into the postseason with a winning record and feel pretty confident about where they are. And maybe they get smoked in the first round, but maybe they don't. And I don't think I'd be surprised either way. That being said, I'm still not in on Kenny Pickett. I'm still not a Kenny Pickett is the guy. You put 100% confidence into him moving forward. but I think that's an overcorrection if you go Kyler Murray. I just do. I think you look at a name like Josh Dobbs. Why not bring Josh Dobbs back and add him to the mix and see if he can compete with Kenny Pickett and push him a little bit and maybe earn the starting job? Who knows? You never know what's going to happen in the NFL. And Josh Dobbs has looked pretty good for a guy who, I mean, hasn't really had much around him. He definitely hasn't had what Kenny Pickett's had around him, and he's had much less opportunity. And then to go to Minnesota and do what you did in Minnesota last week, I mean, that was very, very impressive and got everybody fired up and made everybody a believer in Josh Dobbs. I think that is a name that you could watch. I think that you could go find another veteran somewhere. I think depending on how the San Francisco 49ers handle the Brock Purdy situation, that's another name to watch out there if he hits the free agency market. I just think that there are names that will be coasting that are cheap veterans that the Pittsburgh Steelers could bring in and compete with Kenny Pickett, or they could find somebody like I don't know, worst case scenario, Michael Penix, who slides into the second round, and you're saying, okay, why not? Why wouldn't you bring him in and see if he could compete with Kenny Pickett? I think that's the better way to go about it. What I don't want to see is the Pittsburgh Steelers, and what I don't believe makes sense for the Pittsburgh Steelers is to go spend a boatload of money when you've put yourself in a situation where there are still holes on this team, both offensively and defensively, but you have built a team around a rookie contract. You have built a team with the salary cap understanding that you will not have to pay a quarterback for a couple of years. Don't screw that up, because if that quarterback doesn't work out, or if Kenny Pickett becomes the guy, you're in a situation where you don't have the salary cap room to build the Super Bowl winning team that teams on rookie quarterback deals build. You don't want to find yourself in that situation. And anybody sitting around saying Kyler Murray is going to be cheap, no, he is not. Even if he's not good, even if he comes back from the ACL surgery and he doesn't look good the last 9 games of the season for the Arizona Cardinals, he is still going to be worth way too much money for the Pittsburgh Steelers to consider that. Would it be fun? It'd be a blast. It would be awesome watching Kyler Murray play for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And if he's good, that would be so much fun to watch. But I think another one is the off-field stuff, the concerns about whether or not he studies tape or if he's 100% driven or any of that. I mean, the Pittsburgh Steelers just got rid of Chase Claypool because he was a locker room distraction. They moved on from Devin Bush because he wasn't given 100% effort and he really wasn't 100% into football anymore. You're not looking for that. You already have a guy like George Pickens that is removing himself from the spotlight after putting himself in it for off the field issues. You don't want that with other positions, especially the quarterback position. The Steelers aren't into that drama. I doubt it happens. I would say there's almost a 0% chance that the Pittsburgh Steelers land Kyler Murray this offseason. I think it's hilarious that they are in those odds, and especially that they are top 5 above teams that make much more sense than them. But sportsbooks always know something I don't. Sportsbooks always have some intel that once in a while they hit the money right on the head, and everybody's sitting around wondering, why does that make so much sense when it didn't make sense until it happened? I don't know. They always know something. I don't think they know anything here. I would say it's nearly impossible the Pittsburgh Steelers land Kyler Murray. I say that there are other names out there that you go and get. But if you're a believer, if you're somebody who's a huge Kyler Murray fan, this is the news you wanted to hear. The Pittsburgh Steelers are a top 5 favorite to go and land the Arizona Cardinals' former first-round pick, first overall pick, if he is dropped by the team in 2024.